What's up, I'm Kyle, and this is episode 36 of the Vervet Forest. This is the final episode of season 1 of this show, which I will now be calling Orphan Rescue, just to help differentiate from the other shows that I'll be putting out before next baby season. On this episode, we've got a surprise visit from a Caracal, very unexpected. We've also got a brand new orphan baby Vervet monkey named Meghan, who joins Dumbo in the Sickbay intro enclosure. We've also got an update on Lou and Janet in Skrow Troop. Mr. Miyagi heads out into Engeltjie Troop to meet his foster family. And finally, Dumbo and Meghan, the last 2 babies of the season, head out into Sickbay Troop. Generally, nights here at the Vervet Monkey Foundation are pretty quiet. Unless the volunteers are up at the cottage partying, there's not really many sounds except for the sounds of nature. Sometimes you'll get the occasional alarm call from a monkey who then riles up the other monkeys, but that's always brief and, they calm down quickly and go to sleep. But this one particular night, the monkeys were just going off. They were screaming and alarm calling, and we couldn't figure out why. Until the next morning. A Caracal had made its way into the Goliath troop enclosure. A Caracal is a medium-sized wild cat that can grow to be about 20 inches tall at the shoulders and can weigh up to about 40 pounds. Now, we're not quite sure how this Caracal got into the enclosure because Caracals are nocturnal and we know they hang around here, but it's not like them to try to get inside of an enclosure. We think this one may have climbed up a tree and then jumped on top of one of the intro enclosures, and then from there jumped over the electric fence and landed inside the Goliath troop enclosure. Whatever the case may be, the cat was not happy to be inside, and the monkeys were even less pleased with their unexpected visitor. Because Caracals are nocturnal, all the cat wanted to do was spend its day up in the tree sleeping. But the monkeys were running around, shouting at it, on edge, anxious, and all the humans were standing around looking at this cat, wondering how we were going to get it out of the enclosure. So the last thing the Caracal was able to do was sleep. We decided that we would let the cat stay inside of the enclosure for the night. We left some food inside of the airlock that leads into the main troop enclosure, and we set up a little trap so that we could close the door behind it when it went inside of the airlock. And then we all went to sleep and waited till the next morning. Now, we weren't too worried about the monkeys because Caracal needs that element of surprise, and the monkeys were on edge. There was no way they were going to take their eyes off that cat all night long. And sure enough, all night long, they still alarm called, and we knew they were just watching that cat and not letting it anywhere near any of them. But the next morning, Catechus Finch, as Tori nicknamed him, was still up in that tree and was not looking like he was going anywhere anytime soon. So Dave called the vet to tranquilize the cat so that we could release him back into the wild. So we waited for the vet to arrive. While we were waiting for the vet, I visited Dumbo over in his Sickbay intro enclosure. And guess what? He's got a new girlfriend. Meghan is about 3 or 4 months old. Some miners said they found Meghan inside of their mine, underneath the body of her dead mother. They said they had no idea how her mother died, but Meghan was very scared and she allowed one of the miners to pick her up, and then they brought her to us. Meghan and Dumbo get along great. They're a perfect match. Since everything was going so great, we let the moms into the enclosure. A male vervet named Legolas paced by the door asking to come in, but male vervets are not allowed inside with the babies, so he had to go on his way.
He's always around though. He loves being inside. Dolly. Come in. Yeah.
Dolly was the first female to enter the enclosure.
Skrow. I want to write this down.
She headed straight for the food. Meghan ran away scared. But Dumbo got brave and gave Dolly a quick sniff. She seemed kind of annoyed by his timidness and barked at him after he sniffed her. A female named Isla and a juvenile male named Kofi waited at the door. Isla was hesitant about coming inside, but Kofi, who's not ideal, was very persistent. Kofi waited for his moment, and when the volunteer on the rope slipped up, Kofi snuck right in. Kofi started to pester the babies, which is exactly what we expected to happen and the reason why we didn't want him to come inside.
That's Kofi and Dumbo.
He was being a real jerk to Dumbo. Isla finally came inside, but she immediately regretted her decision.
That's it. You're in.
You've all finally got Kofi back out and let Chicken inside. Chicken cornered Meghan and gave her a few sniffs.
Yep.
Well, didn't like the smell of that baby.
Chicken tried to go back out, but she was our best bet as a foster mom, so we kept her inside. Kofi sat by that door just begging to come back in. Chicken relaxed and followed the babies around for a bit.
Does Chicken even count as a full adult?
Chicken?
Really trying to take this.
Eventually, Dumbo gave in. Dumbo and Chicken shared a few brief moments playing with each other. After that, everyone relaxed and munched on some seed pods. Over in Skrow Troop, Janet and Lou have integrated perfectly. They spend their time playing in the trees. They hang around with Polar and the other females. And they've made friends with the other babies.
Mo and Is it Banner? This is Mo.
The vet finally got here, and Dave walked him over to Goliath Troop to show him the Caracal. Dave and the vet looked for the best position to tranquilize the cat.
Yeah, if we can come in from this side, and maybe we might have a shot from this side or from the other side. Yeah, let's see.
Once the decision was made, they headed into the Goliath Troop enclosure. The first tranquilizer dart was right in the Caracal's butt. We waited around for a while, but realized that the cat was not falling asleep, and the dosage probably wasn't high enough. So the vet tried again. The second dart did the trick.
There he goes.
He's falling!
Just look for the darts, please.
Dave got Catechus Finch in some blankets underneath the tree and then carried the young cat out of the enclosure.
No.
If we can just take this other blanket, yeah?
Just take the blanket. Do you want to put him in this cage?
I think it might be better, yeah.
Okay, let me just get...
Timmy, Dave's dog, was very curious about this giant cat.
Where is he going? Well, the cage is going to go in any case.
You stay where you are.
The vet then gave Catechus Finch some drugs to help him wake up.
Vervet Monkey Foundation, Vervet Forest speaking. One in yourself? Sorry, who's it? Haneke, yes, Haneke. Yeah.
And then the vet took off and headed back to his office.
Put it down.
No, yes, sorry.
On your nose.
There you go.
The Caracal woke up a little bit later, confused and very scared.
Yeah.
There's gotta will to be some.
I mean, could you imagine? It's like being abducted by aliens. One minute you're up in a tree trying to sleep, and then the next minute you're waking up inside of a cage with all of these unfamiliar faces staring at you. That's gotta be terrifying.
to the bottom.
Grab him from the bottom.
Tori and Meghan carried the caracal over to Camelot Rock.
Careful your fingers.
He's not awake enough to fly yet. Make faces like that.
Mine's a big rock. Thanks, Nelly. Thanks for your contribution in this whole scenario.
I'm here
How
for moral
about you
support,
be
remember?
left? Up there in the spot? Yeah. No. Hard left. Hard left. Yeah.
More left. Oh, can you tell it's that? Oh, can you get down there? Yeah.
Done. Do you want a bunny bottle?
Then we waited for the drugs to wear off so that we could release Mr. Catechus Finch back into the wild.
Maybe we should grab.
While all of this craziness was going on, Mr. Miyagi got to have his big day. Mr. Miyagi has been in with Jesse and Theo pretty much this entire time. At first, there was a little aggression between Jesse and some females in the troop.
Real tough.
Go out. Come on, Jesse. You're not going to go away, are you? Come on.
Then Mr. Miyagi freaked out because a female named Whisper tried to grab him. Which is strange because Mr. Miyagi knows Whisper. She's been in the enclosure with him plenty of times, and it's unusual for him to freak out like this. After that point, Mr. Miyagi was pretty on edge. Maggie, the little road trip orphan, she came by and immediately started playing with Theo. But Jesse grabbed Maggie right to her belly and tried to run out the door with her.
Wrong, baby.
Wrong, baby. 2 times over.
Eventually, Mr. Miyagi decided to take himself out into the tree. He walked out the door and then stopped pretty quick, looking around confused.
He's like, what the fuck do I do now? Come on, get together.
He jumped up onto the feeding cage and accidentally touched his tail to the electric fence, which gave him a small shock.
Don't do it, monkey.
Lou, who was on the ropes, gave Miyagi the option to go back into the intro enclosure, but then Miyagi saw a male vervet named Hawaii and he got scared.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. No.
You've got this, Mr. M.
No.
Hannah came by and tried to groom Miyagi, but he was still on edge and gave her a small warning bite, which sent Hannah running off toward a tree, but then she came back and started grooming him. Maggie came running up and started playing with Mr. Miyagi. Maggie gave Miyagi a dominant play bite on the arm, but then he noticed Hawaii approaching and got worried. Miyagi stuck pretty close to his intro enclosure, not sure what to do around all of these big monkeys. But little by little, Miyagi moved deeper into the enclosure. Maybe it was just being up high and finally seeing the scope of where he was, but he really started to stress out. Whisper climbed up into the tree with him, but Miyagi was still being aggressive toward her. He was eyebrowing and making mean faces, which is not the smartest thing for a new monkey out in the troop to do to a female monkey who's just trying to be nice to him. And she seemed to have enough of it, so she bit him.
That way by the fence.
And Whisper's still with him.
Miyagi was not pleased with this situation. Then Theo and the other babies came by, and Theo gave Miyagi some hugs. Miyagi ran around by the fence a little bit, confused, trying to figure out where to go and what to do, and then he spotted Jessie.
Go find Jessie.
He ran straight into her arms. At that point, Miyagi would not leave Jessie's side. Miyagi stuck close to Jessie, while Maggie, Hannah, Stick, and Elliot all tagged along behind. The drugs finally wore off, and the Caracal was wide awake and ready to be released.
Yeah. Thrashing around.
Yeah.
Meghan and Tori moved the cage over to the edge of the bushes. Meghan opened the door. Catechus Finch made a mad dash into the bush without ever looking back to say thank you. A few weeks later, it was time for the last two orphans of the season, Dumbo and Meghan, to join the Sickbay troop.
Sophie loves her so much, and she's like, get off me.
As with many of these older babies, neither really made a strong bond with a mom, but they did get comfortable with the juveniles and the older females in the troop. Dumbo was the first out the door.
Dumbo's out! Dumbo's out!
So one of you will need to stay on the ropes and one can go with him.
Yeah.
Dumbo went in and out of the gate a few times.
Even now he knows he can go out.
He was so excited to be out with the troop. It wasn't too long before Dumbo was all hyped up, bouncing around, playing in a tree, and hanging out with Ranhi.
He's so excited right now. That dude is so happy.
He's so uncoordinated.
Yeah, but he loves it. At least he tries.
At one point, Dumbo tried to steal Isla's food, but she was having none of it.
Not a spit. A big
The next time Dumbo passed by Isla, she grabbed him, trying to groom him. But Dumbo resisted, so Logan came over and tried to help Isla pin him down.
He has no chill. I think that's why I like him so much. What? Is that coffee?
After that, Dumbo wasn't so happy. He got nervous and started panicking. Of course, he tried to climb the electric fence.
Nope. Yep.
Baby.
Dumbo learned the fence lesson very quick. As he sat screaming, his friends came by and gave him some comfort.
Don't do that again. Please.
After that, everything was back to normal. The juveniles were beating up on Dumbo quite a bit, but he managed to hold his own against their aggressive play styles. But then Isla came back and tried to groom Dumbo, and he just wasn't having it and tried to get away. And this really made her angry, so she gave him a pretty good bite.
No. Who was that?
I think that was Isla.
Who is that? Isla?
I think so. That's what it looked like from here. Yeah.
How's his neck look?
Then Ranhi came by and grabbed Dumbo from behind in a display of dominance, but then started grooming him, basically saying like, hey, I'm higher ranked than you, but I'm your buddy, so let me be nice to you.
Oh, I always saw your message now.
Really what's happening here with Dumbo is that he's about 5 months old, and so the members of the troop don't really see him as a baby. And since he doesn't have a mom to protect him, he's sort of just like this juvenile coming into the troop who needs to learn how to hold his own and needs to learn to find his place. But he's not used to it, he doesn't know what to do, and so he's just finding his footing. He's finding where he stands in their social hierarchy. It's going to take some bites and some scuffles until he finds out where he stands and how to stand up against these other monkeys. Finally, Meghan popped her little head out the door and made her way out into the troop.
That's unorthodox.
That was one way of Look at her looking around.
You probably see one man.
What does he do?
Logan gave her some trouble, and she ran off and wandered along the fence for a bit.
Well, don't do that, monkey. I was like, wow. So that's what it looks like in these enclosures.
This will get her away. There we go. Not so brave now, are you?
She goes, I'm just gonna sit like.
Logan kept pestering her, so she jumped on top of the feeding cage. At that point, we knew she was going to climb the electric fence.
Oh God, it's gonna happen again.
Suspense.
Don't do it, Megan. Oh, help, here it comes.
With a small jolt to her system, she climbed up and over and straight out of the enclosure. Megan ran around on top of the intro enclosure looking for a way back in. I tried to grab her as she climbed down the fence, but she was too quick.
Oh, great.
Then she made her way into a tree, and Tori followed her around.
You look really pretty. Oh, come on. Good job. I'm sneaking up behind.
Okay, I was gonna try and force her toward you.
Either way,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eventually, Tori tricked Megan by hiding underneath the shade netting. As Megan climbed out the side of the intro enclosure fence, Tori grabbed her.
Nicely done.
Alright, what I need from you now, Tanya, is to try and get rid of any adults that are currently inside. Is there anyone in? Or is it just Dumbo?
I think it's literally just Dumbo.
Okay, perfect. Come on. It's gonna be okay. Up. You go back in there.
I thought it'd be like again.
Shut the door.
It's gonna be a long day.
We turn the fence back on.
Brilliant.
And we start again.
No electricity.
Hey, you little dummy. Don't do that anymore.
Perfect. Okay.
Once the fence was turned back on, Dumbo quickly went out into the tree, and Megan was close behind him.
I think they're finally starting to get the hang of it.
Megan and Dumbo ran up into the trees and played as if nothing had happened. Watching these two little doofuses run around in the trees with their new foster family, you'd think that they had been in the troop their entire lives. And that officially marks the end of Season 1 of the Vervet Forest Orphan Rescue. I hope you guys enjoyed the season. If you're new to this show, I suggest you go back and watch the playlist and see the evolution of all the babies. It's pretty wild. Check back next Thursday for an all-new episode of The Bandit Diaries, and stay tuned for plenty of more content coming your way. See you later.